Before I give an opening statement, I just want to give a big thanks to our team physicians. They did a really good job with me this week. Early in the week, I came down with some sort of a viral infection, and non-COVID, non-flu. It just hit me pretty hard, and every day was a bit of a struggle, but they kept me going. And I told them I had to get to the match on Friday, and so literally the first part of me working this week was walking in just before the match. Everything that you've seen this weekend is the work of Brian and Jenny. I got a little bit more active today just in terms of decision making, but really it was really Brian and Jenny. I was just here as a figurehead, at least on Friday, a little bit more active today. So thanks to the UCF, Orlando Health, medical physician crew for keeping me on my toes and the rest of the time in bed. I think by next week I should be back in pretty good shape again. So I just wanted to say that. With that being said, I'm going to take a quick time out. And Eric, do you want to set up anything? You're good? Okay. You know, it was exactly the match that I told all the reporters it was going to be like. Memphis is 17-10 for a reason. You know, people say, you know, that they're average or they're below average. Well, not many people do, but they're wrong. Memphis is here's the thing about Memphis is they have amazing athletes, okay? Their athletes are right up there with our athletes. They're young, they're inexperienced, and they got to learn the game of volleyball just like ours did. But the thing that they have is Sean is doing such a great job of bringing them along on an appropriate timeline, not expecting too much at a certain time, not pushing them, just kind of letting them grow and develop. Now, they had a really significant injury heading in tonight, which clearly affected the way they played. You know, their number 24, Tate, you know, she's been really doing a nice job lately and holds down their right side. And I mean, we had a game plan around her. So you think sometimes it makes it easy. It actually made it a little bit harder, not knowing she wasn't going to be in there. What were they going to do now? I thought both teams, I don't know if it was like a playground fight at the beginning. But I mean, somebody rang a bell and both teams just started slugging until they couldn't slug anymore. Scoring left and right. It was, I don't know how, I mean, we got to 25 so fast, both teams. And it was a 23-25 game. That's a credit, you know, that's a credit to them. They had their scripted play. They were able to run their script all the way through and do so very successfully. Now, with that being said, so did we. We did a great job of running our script, following our plans. Couple missed serves here and there really, you know, were what kept it close, you know, instead of like a 5 or 6 point win. But you know, we were pretty low air, 5 errors on the attacking side. We'll take that. But look how many kills we had to have. We had to have 20 kills to win that first set. That means they gave us 5 points. That's it. 5 points. They were low air with a new player on the floor, and we had to score 20 times to win that set. So that's credit to them. I thought the second set, we cooled off a little bit, especially the passing department. Still were missing serves. And we got to win that serve pass game. We really need to address our serving system and make sure that, you know, messages are getting in right time. Players understand what's expected of them, the speed, the tempo, the location. We got to examine everything just to make sure there's no miscommunication because we're missing way more serves than we need to. You know, when you're keeping a team out of system 90% and missing serves, that's okay. Okay, but they were in system an awful lot for the number of missed serves that we had. So that's something that we absolutely have to fix. We had an offensive drop down. Great job. Memphis blocking numbers went up that second set. I thought we were a little bit pretty predictable, and you could see it in their middle blocker because their middle blocker was leaving early and we weren't reacting correctly to it. So another area that we can get into. These are all things that we talked about, the 5-minute break heading into the third set. And we go and we have a set like we feel like we need to. Hit 570, get the blocks that we need, service aces, not many errors. We had that set that we know we can have. We just had to fix some things and put ourselves in a better position than what we were before. So I'm really happy with the way we closed out.
How would you say this team got, because you talked about the first set and how you really needed to earn that one, but how would you say the team settled in to be able to get that 25-12 to seal the sweep?
I think, oh, you mean the third set?
Yes, like with the first set, you talked about how they didn't give you anything basically.
No, I think that the 5-minute break was was good. It allowed us to really talk over some things, some of those things that we were seeing. She'll get to give in between points or even in timeouts. We got a good 2 or 3 minutes to talk to the team, and sometimes that's all you need. Ginny had a chance to talk to Amber in our offense, and Brian got with the middle blockers, and then I talked to the middle blockers a little bit about attacking, and everybody just did their own little part. Then they spent time talking amongst each other, making little subtle adjustments on their own, and so all those things were put together, which allowed us to go out there, and I thought we attacked extremely well, both with our serve and our hitting.
We talked to McKenna last night, and I asked her about, there was the USF match and the match after that where her hitting percentage went down a little bit. She talked about how the team needed to kind of help her get through those couple of matches. How have you seen McKenna kind of rebound from those 2 matches, especially getting a season high last time?
That's the equivalent to a warrior in a sword fight, and they get cut bad, and they're wounded for a little bit, but they have pride, they have ego, and that's a healthy ego for an athlete. And then on top of that, it's just sheer work. That's sheer training. She comes in and she trains. Then she goes up in the office and she watches film and she trains visually. And just train, practice it on the floor, spends extra time after practice training. That's what that is. And she found her way out of her mini hole just by working her ass off, and that's what an athlete's supposed to do.
That's why she's up to now 2,400 kills today. She got it.
Yeah.
She's now one of 15 players in the history of Division I volleyball to reach that number. I mean, I know we keep talking about the number. She doesn't like talking about it. She always gave credit to Amber and Aaron, as a matter of fact, on Friday. But you've been around this sport for a long time. I mean, she passed players like Nicole Brenna on the rankings here. I mean, this is... we may never see this again.
Nicole Brenna, I was at Michigan State when Nicole was at Minnesota. And Nicole was a once-in-a-generation type player. You look at some of these others that are in the 21, 22, 23 range, and once-in-a-generation, once-in-a-lifetime type number hitters. So, what she is yet, I don't know. The season's not over. I'll tell you afterwards. But the fact that she's 100 away from 2,500, I guess you can put your own on that right now. I'll talk about it afterwards. But I think you have to hit the reality at some point as a coach and say, you're never going to have somebody like that again, ever. You're going to have players who are going to do their own things. They're going to be good at their own areas. They're going to, and eventually at some point you're going to fill in the hole. And we'll fill in that hole hopefully sooner than later. But a player like that, every coach talks about that one player. Destiny Hooker at Texas, Rosa, Yadomir Rosa at not Puerto Rico, but Florida. I mean, you can go to each school. Jenna Roble at Michigan State. You can go to each school and you can say, who is their one? And I think we get a chance to watch our one at least 4 more times, and hopefully a few more after that.
You talked about McKenna working her ass off to kind of get herself out of that mini hole. While she was at that mini hole, Heidi Bondi really came on. She tied McKenna to lead the team in kills tonight. Can you talk about how Heidi's been coming on this season and how she seems to have made a little bit of a breakthrough recently?
Yeah, sometimes you get that sophomore slump, and sometimes a freshman that only played 7, 8, 10, 12 matches as a starter, and then kind of starts off and on but hasn't quite seized the role, and then finally steps above everybody. Then once she's in, she finds comfort and she finds forgiveness in her mistakes. And I was telling the television crew, we're watching Heidi Bondi grow up in front of us, literally watching a great player grow up in front of us. And she has not stepped down from anybody, even when she hasn't had a great match. But she sure is making it easy for other players to have quality matches. Because out of system, she's a threat. And when you have out of system threats, you can be a pretty good team.
I'm always curious because you like to go up tempo. When a team goes up tempo, like Memphis really went tempo early in first set. That was exciting to watch. What's that like going against that tempo? Is it easy to adjust because you go at it in practice, or is it like, I'm always fascinated when somebody tries to do something that you like doing?
Yeah, I mean, you watch teams the first time they see tempo, and just the look in their eyes tells you they're not ready for it. They're not used to it. And it's a really good feeling to know you're operating at a level that the other team just can't. For us, we see tempo, we're like, okay, good. And the message in the first time out was, all right, we got a ball game against somebody that plays ball like we want to play. So it was practice, and we play hard in practice every day. So it was like playing against ourselves. And there was no fear, worry, or anything like that. It was, okay, they're going to execute, we have to execute. They're going to execute, we have to. I mean, it's the volleyball version of 2 West Coast offense. RPO offenses just going at it. And, mistakes at that point decide who wins, who loses.
Last question.
I know you mentioned that you were kind of fighting your illness last time out, but did it ever get a chance to sink in for you that was your 300th win here at UCF?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't like talking about things like that. Elo's been around 15 years like I have, and he will tell you 2 things. He will tell you, A, I don't like to talk about him at all, and B, I had no idea where I was. I figured I was somewhere in the 250s or something like that. So to answer your question, no, I had no idea. I had no idea what the number was. That number's not my number. It's assigned to me, but it's not my number. It's the number of every player that's come through this program, every coach that's recruited a kid, every coach that's trained a kid, every athlete that's gone out and done what they could do, the best they could do that day. It's gone through, it's the toughness of the 6 people on the floor to win the 2-point battles and to win the 5-game matches. That's their number. I just happen to be in a position of sitting in the position of the right chair at the right time, that the number's assigned to me. I'm grateful for that, but really, it doesn't mean a lot to me right now. That doesn't mean that somewhere down the road that's not going to be a really important thing for me. But in the middle of the season right now, 3 days away from USF, with as much as we have on the line coming down the stretch, we've got USF, who wants to kick our butt before we leave this conference. Okay? We've got a Tulane team that's scary. We've got Cincinnati, who we have a lot of history with. And then we have the conference leader. That is a lot to look forward to. And until then, it doesn't matter how many wins any of us have. It doesn't matter how many wins we have as a team, because one number matters, and that's 1-0, and I know you're sick of me saying that.
Well, I'm sick of talking to you, who coach it never is, so thank you very much.
You got
Good
it.
luck.